Hello and welcome back to the GPVWC Academy Series, the penultimate round of the 2023 season. And this time we are stateside. We've flown into virtual Florida as for the first time ever in GPVWC. We are at the Daytona International Speedway and we're going road course racing. My name is Ross McIntyre and alongside me is Scott Sovik. You join us just in time for the qualifying session. And well, Scott, looks to be a beautiful sunny day there over in Daytona, and it should be interesting to see how the drivers negotiate such a tricky and high-speed track.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hi everyone, and it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers deal with this track on this, because it's a very different challenge to pretty much any other track that's been on this calendar this year.
Absolutely. As I said, we are just getting ready to go qualifying. Now you will see the drivers be making their way out onto the sports car course here at the Daytona International Speedway. We're having to negotiate the high speed and the bank corners. It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers negotiate this challenge with two 11-lap races to look forward to here today, the penultimate round, of course, of the 2023 GPVWC season. As we see, some of the drivers already having a few issues heading down into the bus stop chicane down on the back straight away. But we've got a few minutes of qualifying still yet to run, as here we see the man who has been pretty dominant over the last few rounds in the Academy Series, Joe Gillett. He has been flying fastest lap after fastest lap, race win after race win over the previous few rounds of the season. And currently he was the fastest in practice. He looks to want to start his weekend with a pole position, but getting it very sideways, heading down to turn one again. This is a very, very tricky track here at Daytona. It's a lot more difficult than people realise due to how popular it is in the sim racing sphere. There's obviously, you've got banking to negotiate, you're braking while you're turning at a lot of the corners. And the infield section has not been resurfaced for many, many moons now. There is not a lot of grip out there. But the number 6 car doing a good job at the moment is the Englishman. Despite that drift down at turn 1, he's making his way through the infield section and surely will be rejoining the banking for the flat-out blast down to the bus stop chicane. Now, possibly the hardest corner of the circuit here as you rejoin the banking. You have to apex far later than the curb allows you to, and then try not to crunch the floor of the car onto the asphalt as you enter that 30-degree banked corner, turn 1 and turn 2 of the super speedway course. It is a purple sector 1 for Joe so far. Of course, the private qualifying as always here in GPVWC. So although all the drivers are out on track, they do not appear on each other's screens like they're doing a hot lap time trial session, call it what you will. As there we see some interesting interpretations of what track limits are heading through the bus stop chicane. Could be a place of calamity, a place of chaos for the drivers if they're not too careful. Again, two 11-lap races to look forward to here tonight or this afternoon or this morning. Of course, hello and welcome wherever you are joining us from around the world here for round 16 of the GPVWC Academy Series. Joe Gillett, he's coming to the line now to mark his first lap time. The car maxing out at 249 kilometers an hour, bouncing off the rev limiter. That is as fast as it will allow him to go. A 1:45.8 is the opening provisional pole time. A very competitive lap time there, but look at that, Scott. We've got 4 cars even, all within a tenth of each other up the top of the field. It looks like it's going to be very close out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm actually surprised to see that small of a gap already happening. This is, and as you've said before, Daytona is definitely a popular track within sim racing, but it's not normally what you'd associate with open wheelers. It's more of a sports car and GT track. So it's it's definitely a different challenge for these drivers on this track here. And as we now watch Mike Bell going through the first sector, 6/10 off in the first sector is not quite ideal, but maybe he'll be able to gain some in that second sector. He is a very experienced driver, as Mike Bell, so I'd imagine that he'll be able to maybe find some speed throughout the session as well, sliding it through the bus stop there.
Yeah, not a lot of grip out there on circuits at the moment, and Mike Bell in that number 1 car proving that it is slippy indeed as he comes through NASCAR turn 3 and 4, the final turns both of the super speedway course and of the road course here. We are not using the final chicane down here just before you come into the pit lane, and Mike Bell opting to run the shortest run to the line again. These cars topping out at around about 250 kilometers an hour, so not a lot of straight line speed here, so there's going to be quite a bit of pack racing, I think, on the super speedway courses there. We see Alessandro Maggio, one of the stars of the season in the Academy Series, now currently sitting on the provisional pole with 9.5 minutes left to run in this qualifying session, the penultimate qualifying session of the year. Just sitting just under a tenth of a second under Joe Gillett's time in P2. Big understeer as he comes to the right-hander here. I feel like a lot of the drivers are going to be running complete minimal downforce setups and using and abusing R-Factor 2's tyre system, just scrubbing the fronts, trying desperately to find any source of grip, making his way onto the banked corners. And let's watch the gears as he climbs up the speed into 7th. Gonna hit 230. It'll top out rather at around 240, 250 kilometers an hour, should I say. It's another fastest first sector, should I say, as well as being a personal best. That's just over a tenth of a second up on everyone else. Wow, look at the commitment through the bus stop. Very wide, though. That should surely be track limits as he darts across the grass, heading through. And yep, bailing the lap goes Alessandro Maggio, so it's not going to be that one, but Joe Gillett. He's on a storming lap right now, nearly 2 tenths to the good on everybody else in Sector 1. Works his way through the bus stop, full commitment, full chat coming through that section and making his way back onto the banking. It's a personal best, but it's not a session best coming through the middle sector. So maybe Joe Gillett just a little bit down in a straight line, maybe running a slightly higher downforce setup. He's going to need to be using that the slipstream and the draft through the high-speed sections as Taris goes up into P2 as it stands. Also in the number 1 machine, it would seem, sharing cars with Mike Bell. Joe Gillett to the line. Does he go to pole? Yes, he does. Wow, what a lap there. 3 tenths up on Maggio. That is a really solid lap from Joe Gillett. We know how quick he is over a single lap. And once again, the number 6 driver proving his worth here in qualifying at Daytona as he makes his way around. Another attempt into the International Horseshoe. We head, you can see the cars really running low downforce, just crawling their way through the middle sector, really struggling there. Julian Kerr, a disappointing middle sector for the man in P13. He comes to the line now. Does he improve? No, he does not. Also a disappointing final sector, but it is an improvement in Sector 1. So there's still time left on the cable for the number 4 car. As there we see the man in P3, Oliver Taris, down on his best in Sector 1 as he heads into the bus stop chicane. Let's see how committed he is through here. This is the make or break section of the course, doing some lawn mowing as he comes through all over the grass, but that looked tidy, and it was tidy. Purple through the middle sector. Awesome stuff there for Taris. And now it is just hope you have the momentum, right foot down to the floor, and pray to the aerodynamic gods that you have the straight line speed to make it in the final sector. Once again, shortest run to the line, running all the way down to that double yellow line. And if he comes to the line now, will it be an improvement for Taris? No, it will not be. Despite 2 personal bests and 1 fastest sector, that first sector 5 tenths away, just letting him down just a little bit. But still, 6 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in this session, Scott. Plenty of opportunities and things to happen, but Joe Gillett, after it looked early on it was going to be close for pole position, he's really put the hammer down. 3 tenths of a second up on anybody else. He is flying out there at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like 3 tenths over Maggio, who has has done had a very good season, both in Academy and also having raced other series in GPVWC. It's definitely an impressive lap from Joe Gillett there, just to see if anyone else can actually get near that, because he's got a fairly big margin of 3 tenths of from anyone else. So it'll be interesting to see. Here we go. Scarpelli 2 tenths down in the middle sector and 7 tenths off in the first sector. Keep that line as tight as possible. Going beyond the banking a bit there as well, keeping it really tight. It's always a bit difficult to discern where you have to keep the car in order to not lose time as well. And is it an improvement? It is an improvement of 46.273, puts him 6th at the moment, just over 2nd behind Joe Gillett on provisional pole.
Absolutely. A great pole there for Joey Gillett so far. We'll have to wait and see what he's going to do. Scott Pelly gets it wrong, loses the rear coming through the International Horseshoe. Of course, luckily, we are sat in a private qualifying session, so he won't get run into by anybody else. But man, oh man, that's not the way you want to go. Joe Tara, or Oliver Tara, should I say. Great lap time there to put him 2.5 tenths off of Gillett. Despite that, and 2 personal bests. Gillett in that first sector is absolutely monstrous. Maggio, though, he crosses the line, still P3. So good lap there for him. But again, Joe Gillett just doing a massive, massive job out there at the moment. As we continue to follow Alessandro Maggio around. Doing a great job this season. As you mentioned, Scott, the Italian, has taken a fair few victories, although hasn't actually won a race for a while. It's not been since the Dubai Grand Prix when he swept the evening with 2 race wins. He hasn't won a race since then, but he has been on pole since then, so he's still got the pace, even if his race form hasn't quite got where he wants to be. As he locks up the front right, heading into the right hand, then gets a bit of rear inversion, sliding slightly as he comes through. You can tell just how little grip these guys have up there. He's just throwing the car into the corner and praying there's some sort of front end bite, and then praying the rear doesn't just break away from him as he does so as well. But starting to get into crunch time in qualifying now. 3.5 minutes left to run here at Daytona International Speedway. Who is going to be on the pole position? Of course, let us know your thoughts with the hashtag GPVWC or in the comments section of the live stream. It's a pleasure to be bringing you all of the action. Myself, Ross McIntyre, and Scott Sovik alongside me. You join us at the back end of the qualifying session here for the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series season. Oliver Tara still holding on to that second place. Philip Savinsky, he's looking to improve from P7 at the moment, but it was a disappointing opening sector, so chances are he's just winding the lock up. He'll need a great exit from the bus stop, and then all the momentum that he can get coming down into the final corner to go for maybe another Hail Mary last-ditch run. I'd be running slightly higher, getting all the momentum that I could get if I was Philip, but hey-ho, what do I know? I'm in the commentary booth, not behind the wheel. But as he comes around to the line now, it might be an improvement, but that first sector was really, really disappointing. So we'll have to wait and see as he comes to the line. Is it an improvement from Savinsky? No, it's not, but time to see if he can improve with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock, but he runs very, very wide. Joshua Dexter up on his personal best in Sector 1, down in Sector 2, and I'm not entirely sure if that's legal, Joshua, to be honest with you. Using the, using the apron there. First, I'm not sure if that's faster, and I'm not sure if it's legal either. We might need to have a word with the stewards about that one. Joshua Dexter, I'm sorry if we've just found you out. I'm not sure if it's going to improve you either, because obviously in NASCAR, you're very much not allowed to run below the yellow line. I'm not sure if you're allowed to do it on the road course either, as Joshua Dexter slides into P6 with some questionable tactics. Yeah, we'll have to wait to see if that's legal. 1.5 minutes to go, Scott, and Joe Gillett still sitting pretty at the top of the table.
Yeah, no, it does look like he's got a lot more pace in the first sector. I'm wondering if he set up his car to be a bit more stable in the first section, because there's a lot of time to be gained if you can keep your car stable. Zanini keeping his car quite stable through the first couple of corners now. Hopefully going for an even faster lap than he's done previously, but you could just see, and as you can see, drivers are just trying everything really. You saw Joshua Dexter with a pretty novel approach to the final corners. I'm not convinced it's too legal myself either. I'm pretty sure you should stay outside the apron, even if it's not oval racing, but. Yeah, no, definitely a lot of different approaches being taken here. Now following Alessandro Maggio for what is going to be his final lap now, being very aggressive on the fronts and just giving it as much turning as possible. Really, it's even though it's qualifying, the tires do take a lot of time to warm up, as they are the hardest compound as far as I know. So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to be able to get here in the first sector, if he's going to be near Joe Gillett's time. He's 0.186 off in the first sector. Ross?
We will have to wait and see as he comes round the final corner for the final time. Is it a hail, or not the final corner, should I say, onto the back stretch for the final time? One of the joys of being at a super speedway, not always sure where you are, makes his way through the bus stop, super committed. Once again, you can see the undulation through that section. It is absolutely rapid. Now he comes onto the final corner for the final time. It is a purple middle sector. Does Alessandro Maggio have what it takes? He rounds the final corner now. It is the shortest run to the line. Can Maggio displace Gillett at the top of the table, or will it be the Englishman on pole? Coming to the line now, Alessandro Maggio goes into second. A tenth and a half off of Joe Gillett, but is able to slide onto the front row of the grid. Oliver Taras is seemingly abandoned his lap as he slides his way into the wall. And Philip Savinsky also now taking the Williams Esports line, it would seem. Yeah, not entirely sure that's legal, boys, I'll be honest with you, but we'll have to wait and see. But
yeah,
a note. Sorry. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's just it's definitely a very interesting approach. But as Chervinsky actually takes the fastest final sector out of anyone, and then proceeds to hit the barrier. But it seems to be working. So, and if the game allows it, then I mean, times haven't been disallowed at least by the game. So it does mean that it seems to be illegal as we see it now, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, obviously the stewards could override it, but there's no championship up for grabs here in the Academy Series. It's just a race-by-race basis. So it depends how the stewards are feeling. I guess we'll have to wait and see if they use it in the race as well, and see if it does provide a clear-cut advantage. I think it'll be much faster to stay on the banked super speedway and head up and get in that slipstream. As Davide Zanini heads into the pits, he's abandoned his last lap, so it looks like that's going to be it for your qualifying session here at Daytona in the Academy Series. We've seen some interesting lines which we're waiting to find out if they're legal or not. If they are, I could see Williams Esports getting an email from them asking them if you want to drive. Joe Gillett takes pole with Alessandro Maggio alongside him in P2. Oliver Taras in P3 with Michele Orazio in P4. Philip Savinsky, one of our interesting line drivers, he manages to slide into P5 with Davide Zanini in P6. Joshua Dexter is 7th with Mike Bell in P8. Domenico Scarpelli in 9th, and Christian Vazdar rounding out the top 10 here at Daytona. Some very, very competitive lap times up the top of the grid. 2.5 tenths covering the top 3. That is a mighty, mighty effort.
Oh yeah,
well,
for
not
sure,
quite as close.
I mean, they're just this.
Yeah, it's just super, super close out there at the moment.
For sure, and you saw just the start of the session as well. It just ended up having it start from 4 people within a tenth already was promising to be quite a good qualifying session as well.
Absolutely, but that is your top 10 for qualifying here at the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series. Hello and welcome to wherever you're joining us from around the world. It is a pleasure to bring you all of the action here from Daytona. We can't wait to get racing in just a few moments' time. The drivers will now be getting ready. They'll be heading up for a warm-up session in just a few moments, and then it'll be to the grid. And, well, strangely enough for Daytona, I presume it's going to be a grid start as well, which, well, going to be interested to see what happens with that. Christian Vazdar has seemingly been demoted into P11 at the same time. Tayyat Ahmed is P12 with Jonas Karula in P13. Caroline Harvick in P14. Piotr Radko is 15th. Louis Smith is 16th. And Julian Kerr, he rounds out our grid of 17 drivers here in the Academy Series. As we wait to head out for the warm-up session, we've seen some interesting lines there coming through the bank section. Some drivers clearly preferring to stay on the flat stuff. I'm not sure if I agree with A, if it's legal, and B, if it's faster, but what do I know? Hello and welcome. If you are just joining us, you have just missed an enthralling qualifying session here for the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series, the first foothold onto the GPVWC career ladder, where you can come and test your mettle and prove that you are one of the best racers on R-Factor 2 in the world. Of course, if you want to go out and get involved with the Academy Series, please do head over to the GPVWC website GPVWC.com. You can find out all that you need to know to get involved here and really start your sim racing career here at GPVWC. We've got two 11-lap races to look forward to here at Daytona around this 5.7 kilometer circuit. And it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, no mandated pit stops. It is just a straight sprint, and this is going to be an interesting one. It's the first time that we've been to Daytona with the Academy Series. Of course, we've been to the US before, but the 2022 we went to Watkins Glen, and every year before that we went to the Circuit of the Americas. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds here with the banking and with all its tricky, ungrippy middle sector. It is Joe Gillett sat on the pole position. Of course, he took two fastest laps and the race 1 win last time out of the Japanese Grand Prix, and also a race 1 win the week before in Korea. So he is a man on a mission at the moment in fine form. We've seen a few drivers out there looking very, very hungry indeed. Alessandro Maggio, he'll be looking to step back onto the top step for the first time since round 7 in Dubai. Let's see if he can achieve some greatness. 8 minutes to go in this warm-up session. And Scott, with only 11 laps around here at Daytona, it's all going to be about the slipstream. It's all going to be about the run really out of that final corner and the bus stop into the start-finish straight. A standing start on some banking as well. I think we've got a very, very interesting pair of races on our hands.
Oh, for sure. And I think it's a question of what kind of exciting are we going to get? Really close racing, or are we going to get possibly a bit of chaos as well thrown in? Because with that, a standing start on banking is going to definitely throw up some interesting results. And yeah, we might see early on some of the more experienced drivers on this grid maybe holding back a bit on the slipstream early on to then try to get themselves in a position where they use the draft more efficiently towards the end of the race, and maybe try to gain a few positions at the death of the race, and just final lap shenanigans, you might call them. But yeah, definitely a very promising 2 races coming up.
Another thing you might like to think about as well, if you're smart and you want to sit in the slipstream, you could potentially underfuel the car, maybe by half a lap or a lap. And if you're good at saving fuel and you can stay in the slipstream, you maybe could gain a few places by just being that little bit lighter, make that middle section that little bit easier. Well, I'll have to wait and see what the strategies are. You join us for the warm-up. If you are just joining us, hello and welcome. Drivers just making sure that everything is in order. All of their rigs at home is working fine. The setup is all okay. And the car is operational as expected. And hopefully, I was about to say hopefully everyone's running okay. There we see Piotr Radko absolutely destroying that car. Part of the joys of sim racing. No crash damage and immediate repairs. So no need to worry about him having a monster shunt. Of course, you are allowed to escape back to the pits in this session, so you hit the escape key on your keyboard and it will teleport you back to the pits and give you any repairs if you need them. That is allowed in this session, but in the races, if you hit that escape key and teleport back to the pit lane, as Caroline Harvard goes the wrong way into the tyre wall, that is it. You are a DNF. Your race is over. Of course, luckily we've got 2 races to look forward to tonight, so maybe hopefully you can get back out there for another one and recuperate and try again. We will all have to wait and see. A few yellow flags being waved out there. Some drivers clearly getting a bit crash happy. Hopefully that's not a foreshadowing of the race itself. Again, be quite interesting on the banking. Maybe some drivers not running the in-game spotter as well. I know some drivers like to, but not a lot do, so could be very interesting as they're heading through the bank section, having to race other cars. But this is where it's all about. It's all about how fast you can get up to the top of the rev limiter in 7th gear. 250 kilometers an hour is the mark that you want to hit. As Caroline Harvard negotiates the bus stop with some tenacity after having an off just half a lap earlier. Currently running P13 in this warm-up session, but yet to set a lap. So hopefully that will change in the coming moments. Joe Gillett, the fastest man out there in the warm-up at the moment. Of course, you can't really read too much into a warm-up session, but Scarpelli in P2, that is a very, very competitive lap time. If that's what he's got in his locker heading into the race. And Mike Bell not too far away either, so we'll have to wait and see. this turn 1 on cold tyres, heavy tank of fuel on lap 1 is going to be a disaster. I can already see it coming. Many a driver running wide. I mean, you see it every year when the NASCAR rolls up to the road course and you get the Daytona 24. Everybody always gets it wrong heading into turn 1 on lap 1. Hopefully that won't be the case, but well, let's just say that I've got my fingers crossed for everybody out there as Caroline decides to go grass cutting before teleporting back to the pit lane. Just under 4 minutes left to run. Ishmael Rodriguez has joined in the fun here at Daytona in that now number 8 car. A few drivers seemingly in the same cars for some reason, but of course it's just been assigned a livery. The cars are all the same. There's no teams, there's no championship here in the Academy Series. If this is your first time watching it, it's all about just displaying what you as a driver can do. It's about displaying yourself to the teams in the tiers above on the GPVWC career ladder and working your way up and kick-starting your sim racing career. Ishmael Rodriguez out there at the moment, currently 0.8 of a second off of Joe Gillett at the top at the moment. Of course, I'm expecting during the race with the slipstream, those the gap between the cars is not going to be as nearly as big as they were in qualifying and in this warm-up session, as Maggio goes 0.2 away from Gillett, who set a really strong lap there, a 1:45.792. Absolutely flying at the moment is the Englishman on holiday in Florida, or in virtual Florida, should we say. Anyway, on board with the Michele Urazio. Well, a few drivers similarly joining in following the qualifying session, which is great to see, but of course they will be starting from the back of the grid, which is a shame, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. You don't make qualifying, you start from the back. Simple as them's the breaks. Urazio, interesting line, heading through the right-hander, very late on the apex. I'd be apexing there just a little bit earlier, unfortunately. There are a few corners where the curbs here at Daytona end irritatingly early. That is one of them. Kind of tricks you into taking a much earlier apex than you need to be taking, and then you're at risk of running wide, and then you kill all your momentum. It is not a particularly pleasant road course. It is very tricky. And of course, given its nature as a super speedway, it is super fast, super long. It really is a challenge for the drivers out there, especially in a car that tops out at around 250 kilometers an hour, as we can see on the steering wheel of Urazio. Bangs it into the bus stop chicane, very neat and tidy through there. And then very aggressive on the line, coming out as well. Interesting to see the drivers taking the shortest run to the line. Of course, I guess they're not picking up enough speed to worry about the momentum side of things as they come through NASCAR turn 3 and 4 and onto the front straight away. And again, just taking the shortest route possible. And Williams Esports line kicks in once again. Again, we think it's legal. We've not heard anyone complaining about it, so we will have to wait and see. 1 minute left to go. Bit of a wobble, bit of a slide. Good save from Urazio coming through turn 1. I feel like that kind of slide through there, Scott, that's going to be something that many of the drivers are going to have to negotiate.
Oh yeah, no, like for one aspect is for sure the tires as well. These are on hard compound tires, which will make the car consistent throughout the race, and the tire deck shouldn't be an issue, but it does mean that it takes a while for the tires to warm up as well. So first couple of laps, even with the warm-up lap, it just takes a while for them to get to temperature. So it will definitely be a question of having stability in that first section, and just as well as you can see some people are actually struggling through the bus stop as well, if that is hitting the curb too much, or if it is just you've set up the car to be a bit too aggressively on the downforce, meaning that the rear's very slidey. It's also it's a lot. You have to consider a lot of things when you're racing at a track like this, especially when your top speed is limited to what the gearbox is set to do. So, and the power of the car as well, because it seems like they're mostly limited by the power of the car around this track to see what the top speed's going to be. You see Joe Gillett in the top in the warm-up session with Ismael Rodriguez in P2 just a 10th behind, and David Zanin in third, 0.158 behind. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that translates into race pace now.
It will be very interesting indeed. Checkered flag is out in the warm-up session, and well, be a few moments time, and then we are ready to get racing for race 1. The drivers teleporting their way back into the pit lane. and then it's time to go. Joe Gitt sitting pretty on the pole position and sitting pretty. Currently fastest in the warm-up. He has been on supremely fine form the last few races. Let's see what he can do heading into this evening here at Daytona. Slowing right down for a wonderful camera shot. Maybe doing some donuts before he gets to the line. Is he going to try and do it? No, he's not going to try and do it. But still, he is looking like a man in form at the moment. So makes his way back to the pit lane. The last drivers finishing off their laps. And then it's time to go racing here at Daytona. Again, standing start on the banking. That is going to be very, very interesting indeed. The last few drivers just finishing off it. And then it'll be everyone jumps back into the pit lane. The game spends about a second glitching out. And then the drivers teleport their way on to the grid. We are ready to go racing here at Daytona International Raceway. On the infield course, no less. Okay, Mike Bell has just been brutally hurt in that incident there. I'm not sure who it was that ran into him. Hopefully we don't see that in the racing. There's a yellow flag out in Sector 1 for good measure, but that'll be it for your warm-up session. We are getting ready to go racing here in Daytona for the penultimate round of the 2023 GPVWC Academy Series, and that is not a sight you see every day. Formula cars lined up on the grid on the banks of Daytona Beach. Unbelievable stuff. 2 races to look forward to tonight, both 11 laps. Shouldn't be too long because it is a very, very fast lap time around here. Looking at maybe about 20-25 minutes if my maths serves me correctly. And we are ready to go racing in just a short moment's time here at Daytona International Speedway on the road course. We are getting ready to go road course racing here in Florida. And drivers now surely feeling the pressure, feeling the tension, feeling that fierce Florida sun virtually beating down onto them. And although it's maybe not helping them warm up the tyres as much as they'd have liked, it's certainly going to be tricky conditions out there for the drivers. The formation lap gets underway here at Daytona. And there is the man on pole position, Joe Gitt, making his way through turn 1. He'll have Alessandro Maggio alongside with Oliver Tarras just behind them. And Michele Orazio, he completes the second row of the grid. Moving further along, it's Filip Savinski in P5. Alongside him is Davide Zanini. Ishmael Rodriguez starts in P7, and Joshua Dexter, he starts in P8 in the number 5 car. P9 is Mike Bell with Domenico Scarpelli rounding out the top 10. Christian Vazdar is in 11th. And alongside him is Zahid Ahmed in that number 2 white and blue livery machine. P13 is Eunice Karula with Caroline Harburg alongside in 14th. Piotr Radko, after a disappointing qualifying, starts in P15 with Louis Smith alongside in 16th. And P17th, our final competitor here, Julian Kerr, he rounds off our grid of 17 cars out there at Daytona. May not be the biggest grid that we've had in Academy Series history, but trust me, around this place, everything is supersized. There's going to be drama, there's going to be chaos, there's probably going to be crashes. We'll have to wait and see as they're making their way down onto the backstretch on this formation lap. Scott Sovik, what are your predictions heading into race 1? Do you think it's going to be Joe Gitt running away up the front, or do you think he's maybe got a bit of a battle on his hands?
Well, as some people may have spotted, he did in fact do a practice start right before the session went into the warm-up session went into the race, so he may have a slight advantage there. Of course, we don't know. Track temperature seems to be in the mid-40s as well, so maybe the warm-up procedure won't be too bad for the tyres. But yeah, he might well do that. Honestly, he might just be able to settle immediately and just get going, really. It'll be interesting to see how he gets off the line. It'll be interesting to see how everyone gets off the line, honestly. But I think it could be a close one, honestly.
We'll have to wait and see. The drivers making their way back onto the grid. Of course, no grid slots available visually, but in game, of course, they will have a little marker that notes them down where to stop, so they do stop in the correct places. And No start lights either here at Daytona. Normally you'd expect is the drop of a green flag, but there is start light in game. We are getting ready to go racing in race 1 of the Academy Series here at Daytona. Green flag is in the air. The green flag drops, we're underway. It's a great start on the outside there from Maggio. Gillett does not get the best getaway down on the inside, coming through into turn 1. Who is going to take the lead? It's the inside line for Gillett, the outside line for Maggio. They make contact, but it will be Alessandro Maggio who maintains the lead. There's chaos in the background, but a great start there from Alessandro Maggio, fast starting in P2 and capitalising with a great launch off of the line. Further back, it is Gillett in P2 and Taris holding on to that P3 position at the moment as they make their way through the infield section for the opening time on lap 1 of 11. Looks like, despite the yellow flag being out, actually no, looks like Vazdar may have had some issues on the opening lap. So a shame for him, but apart from that, looks like everyone else was away cleanly. It is Maggio from Gillett, and Orazio has actually got past Taris into P3, so the outside line, clearly the one to start on, clearly a lot more grip. Getting the power down, starting on the outside, high up on the banking as they make their way into NASCAR turn 1 and 2. Here's where the slipstream is going to come into full effect, and you can see already the ground that Joe Gillett is making. The problem is that he's got to smack into the top end of the rev limiter, and then he won't get any closer. So he's got to utilize that slipstream and use his acceleration where he can. Hard braking into the bus stop as there's toe braking behind from Orazio heading into the bus stop chicane. Looks like everyone's through cleanly on the opening lap as well. There we see Caroline Harvig currently at the back of the top 10. And people make their way through. Joshua Dexter taking a very unorthodox line as he cuts his way through the glass. Here goes Oliver Taris to the outside with the slipstream. It's going to be side by side as they make their way across the line. Shortest line there for Orazio, and using the high line, using that momentum for Oliver Taris. He's going to have to cut back down inside surely as Maggio leads this opening lap here at Daytona. And Joe Gillett, what a surprise. We expect him to lead away from the front, but he's facing some stiff competition. As there we see Savinski trying to get up into P5 ahead of Zanini. Gets through, does Rodriguez following through as well. 2 wide, 3 wide. As they head into the international hairpin, that's surely not going to work. And somehow Zanini comes out on top, and there goes Mike Bell getting involved. A fantastic scrap here on lap 2 of the race. Maggio still leads at the front, but we've got a fantastic battle on our hands for P5, darting this way and that way, go all 4 of the drivers. Savinski holds the inside, there goes Bell, up the inside is Zanini, does Rodriguez following through as well, he does for the time being. Zanini loses 2 places in one corner, into the barrier in the background goes Caroline Harvig, but as we continue to follow this battle round, maybe swapping places in the background, once again Zanini and Rodriguez, yes they do. And as Mike Bell and Savinski start to pull a bit of a gap from the pair behind them, heading back onto the back straightaway. Oh! Was that jumping match on the wall?
Oh, it must have tapped on the draft or something. That's what's, that is very unfortunate. And then lap 2 of 11, he's going to have to stop for that, which is he's going to stop to replace that front wing. That is a real shame for Alessandro Maggio there, we'll have to have a look at that at some point, because that could be a bit contentious.
I wonder what. We're getting a replay now. So here's Alessandro Maggio in the lead. Joe Gillett behind. Looking, did someone chop, or was there just a miscommunication? Oh, just a total miscommunication. Oh dear, wow. Great avoiding action from the pack behind, roaring past at 250 kilometers an hour. Words are going to be had with the stewards, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be. It's very unfortunate though, because Gillett's gaining so much pace on Maggio, and it just ends up with a slight tap on the rear light, and that's enough to send Maggio spinning. Very unlucky.
Yeah, very unlucky, but just a miscalculation from Joe Gillett, given how far in front the car in front was. And his own pace as he slides a bit, maybe some damage for the number 1 as well. He's dropped back into the clutches of Oliver Taris and Savinski. And Zanini still fighting, almost banging wheels, heading through the right-handed hairpin. And these guys still fighting. Mike Bell started to pull away in P4. Wow, Alessandro Maggio, what a shame for him. Joe Gillett, well, he's going to be one unpopular figure with the nation of Italy following this one. Savinsky. Let's hope we don't see a similar incident. Thank goodness we don't, as Ishmael Rodriguez pulls out of the slipstream at the correct time, but has to duck back in. It was too early. It's going to duck below the yellow stripe, surely, but cannot get the gap as they head into the bus stop chicane. He's going to have to hold on to P7 for the time being as they negotiate this very, very tricky, very, very heavy braking chicane. And now look at the run that he's got coming out of that chicane. Pulling to the outside, he's going to have to go the long way round. Again, it's a shame that these cars are limited by their gearbox. If they were running a lot faster, that high line could be very much utilised. But at the moment, it's just not worth it. It's just, the line is too long to make effective. Going on to lap 4 of 11, and there has already been drama as Taras sets the fastest lap of the race. He's on the tail of Joe Gillett. Orazio isn't far behind them either. Savinsky still holds on to P6. Heavy on the brakes heading into the opening corner. And as they dart their way through this little S's section, right and then left, and on the run into the international hairpin. Or going to the outside goes Ishmael Rodriguez, but can't quite find the gap.
Yeah, tried for a cutback there, just couldn't get the gap out of there again. But as you can see, there's a lot. I think we're going to continue seeing this where people can't make the move on the outside of the banking, as we see Chervinsky defending against Rodriguez there. And Taras is taking the lead. He's taking the lead from Joe Gillett. And Gillett on the inside takes it back, but it's still side by side.
Still side by side. Could Orazio get involved in this fight as well? As the front two are battling, he is gaining time the entire time. There you go. Joe Gillett, he's going to have to hold that inside line. Almost contact between the pair of them as Taras tried to squeeze every ounce of the slipstream he could out of the car in front. And now look at the run that he's getting to the outside as they come down into the bus stop chicane. It will be Gillett with the inside line. Gillett later on the brakes as well. But Taras is in tow, and Orazio is not far behind them either.
Yes, definitely a three-person fight for the lead now, with Orazio just behind Taras and Gillett, with Taras now going for a move round the outside. I don't know if he's going to have enough of a side draft there, but it does actually look like he's going to be able to outpace Gillett here without any slipstream. It might be, but here's the thing, that's that line. That inside line's making enough of a difference for Gillett to be able to keep the position into turn 1 now. Keeps tight on the braking through turn 2, and yeah, Joe Gillett leading ahead of Oliver Taras.
For how long though is the question. Taras clearly has the pace on board that number 1. Can he negotiate his way through the Englishman in front of him? Only time will tell. As you can see, the field is starting to stack up behind the race leader. Can he hold on, or will it be dire straits as they head into the awkward right-handed hairpin that takes them back down and almost back onto the main circuit? Taras is just stuck behind the Englishman at the moment. Cannot find a way through. He's looking left, he's looking right, as that is a big slide for Joe Gillett. That's going to kill his momentum. This is an opportunity for Oliver Taras, but once again, just holding on to that inside line is Joe Gillett. Taras actually lifting off the throttle a little bit there. He wants to stay in the slipstream this time so he can get the run and time it perfectly. Smart racing from Oliver Taras. Now he goes to the outside. Now is the opportunity on the brakes around the outside into the bus stop. This would be amazing if he pulls it off, but no, it's not going to happen. Just that little bit later on the brakes heading into the chicane.
Yeah, no, going around the outside there's it's a brave move, and you could see Gillett just confident enough on the brakes to keep that position now. Taras again going to stick behind Gillett now towards the finish line now, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can actually get any closer or even get ahead of Gillett going into the first corner now.
Almost bump drafting him. We've already seen that end badly. Let's not have another one of those today. As they head into turn 1, lap 6 of 11, over halfway through this race. Oh, sideways and a half from Oliver Taras as Orazio also runs very wide on the exit of turn 1. And as they head through down into the international hairpin, that does give Joe Gillett a little bit of breathing room. Takes a much later apex than Taras. He wants to utilise that punch of power heading out of the corner. As they make their way, coming through the very fast flat-out left-hand section, a car off in front of them. That's a back mark. I believe it's Caroline Harvig, who has really been struggling here today. Indeed, it is Caroline Harvig Hopefully she stays out of the way of everybody. Yes, she does. So a big thank you to her for respecting blue flags and not causing chaos if she was to rejoin the circuit. And as they make their way back onto the banking, what McIntyre do is a little bit too far back this time to maximise his slipstream, but he can certainly pull it in a little bit closer, and maybe with the good exits, the bus stop could properly challenge down into turn 1. We'll have to wait and see as there's moves being made for the back as well. Zanini on Bell. 4P4, who's later on the brakes, heading into the bus stop. Zanini sweeps around the outside, cuts over the curb, and he's going to have to miss out on that position. He did cut the corner. He'd have to give it back anyway, but it was worth a go, and it was a very, very committed move nonetheless, as he tries to reset and refocus and pull his way back in. Oliver Tarras, is this the one? Is this the time he makes the move? We're going to begin lap 7 at the line now as they make their way down into turn 1. Is he close enough? I don't think he will be. 5 laps remaining is the message on the ticker as we come down back onto the road course. It is anybody's guess. Some more back markers to negotiate. No more back markers, should I say. That's Zanini and Bell. Apologies there, as this fight 4P4 continues to rage on and wage on as they head through the international hairpin. Zanini looks very, very fast on the corner entry, but just can't quite make it stick. Coming out of the corners, and as they fly their way continually through this midfield section, it's anybody's guess. There are so many drivers out there who are looking pacey, but just can't quite seem to make their way through. It's a race of mind games. It's all about trying to force your opponent into making the mistake. It's all about trying to find the gap and squeeze on by as you head through or back onto turn 1 and 2 of the Super Speedway course. Of course, if you're using the full Super Speedway course, the series like NASCAR around here, they'll be topping up over 200 miles an hour with a restricted engine power. They could easily be going 230 like they did back in the day. Not quite as fast around here for these boys, but still fast enough for Zanini as he tries to challenge for P4 once again into the bus stop, and he's going to get it done before the braking zone. Davide Zanini up into P4. Lovely stuff, utilising that draft, heading down through the Super Speedway section. And he makes the move stick. Wonderful stuff as we are about to go into lap 8. Oliver Tarras, is this the one? As he heads through alongside Joe Gillett, side by side. He hasn't really got that much of a pace advantage at the moment. He's going to lose out due to the shorter run for Joe Gillett, but he will still be side by side with the race leader heading into turn 1. Who's later on the brakes? Who's braver? Does Gillett overshoot the corner? Maybe. No, he manages to get the thing stopped. Wow, amazing braking there from the Englishman. I thought he was going to fly straight across and into the barrier. So late on the brakes was he, but manages to get the anchors down and get that thing slowed down for turn 1 as they negotiate the international hairpin. Lap 8 of 11, 4 laps left to run. Well, 3 laps. Yeah, well, 3.5 laps now left to run here in race 1 at the Daytona International Speedway Road Course of the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series in 2023. And this has been a very tense and very exciting race. It's anybody's guess as to who's going to end up on top. We've seen drama, we've seen chaos, we've seen potentially a race-deciding collision that will definitely be going to the stewards post-race. This battle between Bell and Zanini now is continuing to rage on, and Ishmael Rodriguez not far behind either. If these guys continue to battle, I believe Scarpelli may have made a mistake. He's dropping down the order just a little bit. Does Mike Bell this time get the advantage? Heading into the bus stop chicane. We'll have to wait and see. Does he get through? He's going to have to go the long way around. Yes, he does. Wow, brilliant stuff from Mike Bell to fight his way through. But now here comes Rodriguez. They're going to be 3 wide heading around the banking. I'm not sure that's going to work with the limited engine power. Here comes Oliver Tarras once again side by side with your race leader as they head across the line to make it 9 laps left to go. And it will still be Joe Gillett just holding on to that lead ever so slightly as they whack off the top of the rev limiter. Gillett still holds the inside, still holds the race lead. And there we go. Bell and contact! Zanini speared off and almost into the barrier. Great job to save it as he pirouettes round, but Zanini drops behind Savinsky. Bell and Rodriguez, that battle of 3 becomes a battle of 2 as Oliver Tarras continues to wage war for the lead of this race. On lap 9, we are seeing some monumental tussles out there, Scott. It's anybody's guess as to who's going to be on top.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tarras has been trying everything. He's been throwing everything at Joe Gill, and he's still not been able to get past. I mean, the way Gillett's been able to hold the inside into turn 1 and here as well as braking's been phenomenal. It'll be interesting to see now Tarras right behind Gillett going on to the first of the 2 bankings. Just again, you can see it here. He's got the draft, but the minute the moment he goes out of that draft, the momentum stops completely. It's like hitting a wall essentially. But he's got a bit more than Joe Gillett, but it's just not enough to get past him at the moment. Just not quite there to actually get completely side by side. I mean, he's got the momentum coming out of the corners, but as soon as he's getting side by side, it just the momentum stops completely. So it must be very frustrating for Tarras, knowing that he probably feels he's got the pace to get past him, but he just cannot get past him. It's it's very interesting to see how this track's affecting the racing now, with only 2 laps to go, the penultimate lap here at the Daytona International Speedway.
2 laps left to run, 2 to go here at Daytona, and Tarras, you can really see, starting to get desperate, starting to make desperate attempts for the lead to the outside into the international hairpin. Too late on the brakes, almost running off the track, and that has cost him dearly. Half a second he drops behind. He's got to work his way back forward, make up all that time once again as he heads through. And now we wait and see. Very interesting to see how it all turns out as they make their way coming into this awkward left-hander once again. It's anybody's guess as to who's going to be on the top. We've got 1.5 laps left to run here in race 1. It's been a phenomenal ding-dong, a phenomenal and titanic battle that we have all enjoyed. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end as they head back onto the NASCAR circuit. It's going to be interesting to see. Of course, at the moment, Tarras is just too far back to make a move, and Gillett can breathe for the time being, but it's going to be desperate lunges, desperate attempts from the man we are currently on board with, Oliver Tarras, as they make their way round NASCAR 3 and 4 for the penultimate time in this race. You can see Tarras is gaining and gaining. This is where the move is going to have to be made, I fear, unless he's able to get a monster run coming in to the bus stop on the final lap. As further back, Zanini fighting with Dexter, fighting with Savinsky. That's Dexter even, who goes to the inside, and then Savinsky. Lovely move there. White flag is out. Well, not really. We don't have a white flag here in GPVWC. But 1 lap to go here in race 1. Almost bump drafting Zanini and Dexter as they come down into turn 1. Zanini's going to have a look to the inside, wobbling this way and that way. Sends Dexter out wide. Gets the move done. Savinsky slides through as well.
Yeah, just a slight tap there. Sorry, Ross. Just a slight tap there, going through turn 1 there, just to send Dexter a bit wide. But yeah, as you can see, there's just pack racing is occurring now. It's got small packs of like 2 or 3 cars at a time, but it's definitely been a close race throughout the field. And yeah, Zanini, unfortunate to have a spin earlier on, but still trying his best to fight to get the best position possible still.
We'll have to wait and see. Yellow flag is out in Sector 1. Hopefully everything is all okay for everyone. This battle for P6 still continues to rage on as they make their way onto NASCAR 1 and 2 for the final time in this race. Savinsky still holding on from Zanini, or Zanini should I say, still holding on from Joshua Dexter. And up the front, it is Gillett from Tarras, still in that order. I think Tarras's race may be run. Gillett looks to be safe. They make their way on the run down into the bus stop chicane. Oh, sliding off the road. Who was that? That was Mike Bell. Mike Bell has slid off the road, coming through the bus stop on the very final lap. Coming around the final corner though, drag race down to the line. Gillett versus Tarras. Who's going to be on the top step of the podium in race 1? It will be Joe Gillett who takes the victory by less than a tenth of a second at the line. Harris raced respectfully, raced fair. This battle continues to rage on though. Is that no front wing for Mike Bell?
No front
yes,
wing.
It is indeed. No front wing there, so I wonder what happened.
I mean, going by what we saw in the foreground of this shot there, I imagine he's just lost on the entry into the bus stop, because that is such a tricky section of track. Enough of a, if the car bottoms out just slightly, you just send the car flying. There we go, Julian Kerr then, right behind, 4 tenths behind Piotr Radko, in 11th place at the moment. Piotr, what I assume is going to be his first top 10, and that is also Sans front wing, and Julian Kerr in 11th.
Wow, what a race we have just seen here in race 1. Gutt holds on from Tarat after a brilliant battle for the race lead. Here we've got a replay. I believe this will be, this is Scarpelli, who went round. That's coming out of the right-hand hairpin. Makes his way back onto the circuit. No issues there. For Domenico Scarpelli. Makes his way back onto NASCAR 1 and 2, so look to be all clean. But let's see where he spun, what happened to him. So coming through the left-hander here, all looks fine. Just on the braking, touched the grass on the braking, missed the braking, then ran wide, touched the grass again, and it's as easy as that. And then trying to rejoin the rear of the car, just loops around on him. Did well to not rejoin in a silly place and actually use reverse gear. Many sim racing can learn from Domenico Scarpelli there on how to rejoin a track safely. Here we see, that was Zanini. Zanini got, that was when Zanini got fired off even. Sorry, I thought there was another incident there. So that's Davide Zanini getting fired off a few laps ago. Coming into turn 1, there was definitely a touch there. I believe it was from Joshua Dexter. And Savinsky managed to slide in front of him. That's Christian Vazdar, who did some premature donuts down at turn 1.
Ooh. Got to be a bit careful with the recovery there. Sometimes it's try your best to get out of the way. And there we see the aftermath of Mike Bell's incident at the bus stop. Wonder how he actually got into that situation, but obviously his lack of front wing in the final part of the
there's a car
lap
without a rear wing. So there's a car without a rear wing. So maybe they touched each other.
Yeah, that could well be possible. I wonder if...
Yeah, we're just going to try and find out for you, folks. But yeah, I'm wondering if there was some maybe some front to rear contact. Yeah, there's a rear wing lying at the exit of the bus stop there. So I definitely think there's been some contact between the pair of them. But yeah, no front wing pays dividends in the acceleration department, it would appear, as Mike Bell been brought back on the throttle pedal and immediately shot past another driver. But yeah, there's definitely a car there without a rear wing. I'm not entirely sure who that was. But this is coming into...
he's gone in too quickly. He's gone in too quickly and just not being able to keep the rear stable enough to keep going forward. That's just
there was contact there between Zanini. Just to the left of your screen. So that's what happened to Zanini without the rear wing. There you go. Yeah, there was contact between Savinsky and Zanini.
Two different incidents, as it turns out. I was going to say, because I thought Mike Bell had a decent gap to Zanini, who was expecting to be that colour of car. So, yeah, just bus stop causing calamity, honestly, by the looks of it.
So let's see what happens. Here's Zanini. So there goes Mike Bell, off down the front of your screen. Yeah, we must have just missed this. Our camera must have just panned away. Just that happened. So, just the lightest of touches. And into the wall. That's so unfortunate for the pair of them. Just a racing incident. Nothing you can do there. No one's at fault.
Yeah, when you catch, because you can see he got so much better drive through the bus stop there, and he just ends up tapping them because he got such a good exit. It's just, sometimes you just cannot react to that in time. Very unfortunate for Cherinsky as well, who lost the position to Mike Bell because of that as well, but sometimes that is racing.
It is indeed, unfortunately. It is indeed. That is it for race 1 here in Daytona. Wow, what a race. Joe Gutt takes the victory with Oliver Taras in P2 and Michele Orazio in P3. Ishmael Rodriguez was 4th with Joshua Dexter in P5. Davide Zanini was 6th with Mike Bell in 7th, Philip Savinsky in 8th, Domenico Scarpelli in P9 and Piotr Radko. He rounded out our top 10. Well, what a race we've just seen. Further down, Julian Kerr was 11th with Christian Vazdart, P12. Alessandro Maggio managed to work back up to P13 with Lewis Smith in 14. Tahoud Ahmed in 15th and Caroline Harvig in 16th. Both of those guys finishing a lap down, unfortunately. That is it for your race 1. And I believe we will be taking a short break before we are back with race 2, unless I'm mistaken. So we will indeed be taking a short break. So make sure you stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're just going to have a quick 5-10 minute breather to catch up on ourselves after a crazy race 1. And we'll be back with race 2. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway. You join us at the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series in 2023, and you join us just in time for 11 laps of race 2. My name is Ross McIntyre. Joining me in the commentary box is Scott Sovik. And Scott, we have had a fantastic race 1. More of that in race 2, please.
Oh yeah, we definitely hope so. It's you just saw the amount of drafting, and you know, you'd have packs of two and three cars, sometimes even 4 cars mid-race fighting against each other. So racing-wise, it's definitely produced a very exciting race 1. Hopefully race 2 provides more of the same, if not a lot more.
We'll have to wait and see. 11 laps to run here. Or in race 2, same as race 1, and we are excited to see how it is all going to kick off. We're just waiting to get underway with our formation lap, and then it'll be time to go racing. And they make their way on their green flag formation lap now. Of course, one tour of this Daytona International Speedway, the road course variant. We're not brave enough to run purely on the ovals just yet, and then it's go time. Kimud Ahmed starts on the pole with Louis Smith alongside. Alessandro Maggio is in P3, the Christian Vazdar in P4. Of course, this is a reverse grid of race 1's results. Julian Kerr is P5 with Piotr Radko in P6. Domenico Scarpelli and Filip Savinski, they make up the 4th row of the grid in P7 and P8. The top 10 rounded out by Mike Bell and Davide Zanini. Following them, Joshua Dexter in P11 and Ishmael Rodriguez back in P12. P13 is Michel Orazio with Oliver Taras in P14. Joe Gillett is P15, and somehow Caroline Harvig is P16. I'm not entirely sure what's happened there. Joe Gillett, of course, did win race 1. Caroline Harvig... Oh, so, of course, I'm being a muppet. I've forgotten. It's only top 15 that are reserved, which is why Caroline Harvig starts in P16. It's a smaller grid this weekend, so maybe I just got my numbers wrong. But, oh, hello. Deddy, don't crash on the formation lap. Yeah, that's not the way you want to go, but there we see. Bit of a moment on the formation lap, heading through NASCAR 1 and 2.
Well, help with the warm-up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's make sure that you're awake and alert behind the wheel, I suppose, almost putting it in the safer barrier. Yeah, not the way that you want it to go. But once again, 11 laps of racing to look forward to. The outside line was very, very fast starting in race 1, so that's the one to keep your eye on when the green flag drops. And as they make their way through the bus stop chicane, It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers further back are going to be able to fight their way through the field and maybe get up there and put a win, or maybe one of the drivers up the front can hold on and put in the performance of a lifetime or the performance of a GPVWC career so far and hold on to that top step of the podium. Only time will tell, because we're getting ready to go racing here in race 2, moments away from the drop of the green flag for the penultimate round of the season. After this, of course, one more race, or one more pair of races, should I say, to look forward to this season in the Academy Series. We're heading to the Autodromo Los Carlos Pache, better known to you or I as Interlagos, for the final round of the Academy season. It's been a very enjoyable season. It's been a very enjoyable weekend, or evening here so far, should I say. One great race down, another fantastic race to look forward to. There we see Caroline Harvig slides into the back of the grid. The green flag goes up in the air. Green flag drops. We are underway in race 2. A great start from P3 on the grid there, but it will be the pole sitter that holds position as they trundle their way down into turn 1. 3 abreast, almost 4 abreast in the background. Let's hope they all make it through cleanly. It looks like they will for the time being. Just a haggle of cars negotiating this infield section here at Daytona. Diving to the inside, does the gap appear? Not quite. You can see people fighting for position everywhere that you look, all over the track here at Daytona. Julian Kerr currently holding on to P7 as it stands as they fly through the fast left-handed king. Dust being kicked up by those further back in the pack, almost running 4 wide, it would seem. Absolute chaos here in the opening lap as the faster drivers try and fight their way through the pack. There is a whole gaggle of cars just further back in the pack, just all of them squabbling for position, fighting over every inch of racetrack, but no one at the moment unable to find a way through. There is Joshua Dexter currently fighting for P9, trying to look to the high side of the racetrack to try and get the slipstream and the run, but does he have the momentum? Not quite. It is Ahmed that leads from Alessandro Maggio, who surely has a great chance to win this race as he takes the lead of the race heading into the bus stop. Maggio, of course, fighting for the win in race 1 before an incident that motored him down the order. He is surely going to be favourite to come away with the win in this one. This will be his first win in nearly 8 rounds. Michel Urazio up into P14 already. And further back in the pack as well, still fighting there. There is Vazda fighting with Ahmed for P2 to the high side. Sweeps around, coming through NASCAR 4. Lovely move there from the number 3 driver, Maggio, who's already checked out. He's booked his flight. He's boarded the plane. He is shooting off into the distance. Lap 2 begins. 1.2 seconds is the gap from Maggio back to Vazda. What a lead that man has got already. We know he has the pace from race 1. Oh, contact further back in the pair. That is Julian Kerr and your race 1 winner, Joe Gillett. Joe Gillett goes round, coming through turn 1. Looks like there may have been contact there. He'll drop back into P13. Kerr manages to fall back and hold on to a top 10 position at the moment. But how are his tyres feeling after that 360? Only time will tell as they make their way out of the international hairpin and into this very, very fast left-handed kink. What a shame there for the race 1 winner, Michel Urazio. The back slides up into P10 now, getting his way through Kerr. So Urazio looks to have a lot of pace on board. It's been 2 laps so far, Scott, and already we're getting chaos.
Oh yeah, you can see just the faster people from race 1. They're just trying to fight their way from the back as well. Joe Gillett, unfortunately, getting a bit caught out there and into the first corner of the second lap there. As we go with Oliver Taras behind Chervinsky, he'll be hoping to get past him quite quickly. You saw Taras almost less than a tenth off the race win in the first race there, so he's obviously got a lot of pace and he'll want to use that pace as much as possible, not get stuck behind too many people.
Indeed, we'll have to see Taras to the inside of Savinsky, gets through Savinsky. And as they make their way through, and Savinsky back in the slipstream, now trying to negotiate his way back past on the high line, but don't think he's going to be able to work for the time being. This way, that way, forwards and backwards. And Maggio, fastest lap already, 3.5 seconds up the road on Vazda. He has got a commanding lead up the front. Taras goes defensive to the outside. To the inside goes Savinsky, but he can't make the move work on this occasion. Maris, though, does run wide. So maybe he'll still be under pressure. Vazdar now under pressure from Scarpelli as Savinsky and Taras continue to trade blows in the background. Vazdar doing a great job so far in race 2. Holding on for P4, Mike Bell has made his way up into second place. In the meantime, there's Ahmed. Holds on to P3. Scarpelli looks to the left coming into the awkward hairpin, but just unable to find the gap. And off the track goes Vazdar. That's going to hand P4 over to Scarpelli. The chain there for Christian. Vazdar was just asking for a bit too much on the exit of the right-hander as they come back onto the banked section of the course. NASCAR 1 and 2 of the Daytona International Super Speedway. And as they come flying through, they'll be topping up at 250 kilometers an hour. That, unfortunately, is the limit for as fast as these cars can go. The rev range does not allow them to go any quicker. But that is the way, that's how the cookie crumbles. As there we see Savinsky and Dexter fighting in the background, looking for a way through, but just unable to make that gap appear. It is still chaos. The quicker drivers still desperately trying to fight their way through. Again, back up to 250 kilometers an hour. The slipstream helps you get there faster, but doesn't make you any faster. It is an engine limitation as Taras boxed in at that magic 250 number, just a shade over 155 mile an hour as they make their way. Wow, look at how close they are. Heading down into turn 1. Taras gets through Vazdar. Savinsky, though, into P7, and Scarpelli holding on just in front. Joshua Dexter, in the meanwhile, is stuck behind Savinsky, it would seem at the moment. A small train forming behind the number 3 driver. As a yellow flag, looks like Caroline Harvick having more issues. Joshua Dexter looked to the outside there, but was unable to make any sort of progress. And looks like we've got a slipstream train on our hands once again on lap 4 of 11 here in Daytona.
Yeah, definitely a very close racing compared to the first race where you've had a lot more spread. As we go on to the replay to see what's happened with IS Maggio start, I did think he had a very solid start from third on the grid there. I can see just spinning the wheels up and just getting the car launched as quickly as possible. It's a very good start, and you can see he's made the most, just trying to get on the outside of Ahmed at the into the first proper corner, and not quite able to get past there. But you know, we saw him get past later in the lap and just pull away. As we see another replay now with Julian Kerr. Wondering if this could be if this is actually with the Joe Gillett. See, just getting a bit. Oh. Yeah, connected. Instant. Yeah, connected with. When you're in the middle like that, it's very difficult to keep your line without, especially if the minute you break off a bit, just the slightest imbalance, you're risking something like that happening. So it's very unfortunate, just a racing incident there. As we have Scarpelli now and Taras right behind Ahmed, and Scarpelli's just gone past both of them on the outside there. That's not very usual. I'm wondering if Ahmed's got a very low downforce, and that's Vazdar going off, I think.
Yeah, Vazdar running very wide there, coming through turn 1. Hopefully he can rejoin as this battle continues. Look how tight they are behind Scarpelli, Ahmed and Taras, swapping places as they come through. Back onto this awkward back straight. Scarpelli holds on for P3. Look at them side by side, Scott. Unbelievable stuff. Yeah,
it's amazing, honestly. Just the way they're able to go side by side quite cleanly there. A bit less cleanly now, with a bit of a tap wheel to wheel there. But I mean, as long as it's not, these things can handle wheel to wheel contact like that. But it's been very close, and you can see Ahmed really trying to fight to keep his position there, doing a good job so far. He's started on pole and he's dropped down to 4th, but he's shown that he's driving quite defensively, but in a very positive manner. He's been able to defend when he's had to, but you know, at this point he's just no chance to defend against Taras there into the bus stop.
Unfortunately, we have lost Caroline Harvick, our first DNF and hopefully only DNF of the race. Shame to see her bow out early doors on lap 5. Soon to be lap 6. Joe Gillett looking to the outside on Savinski. Does he have the momentum? Not quite. Ducks back into the slipstream. Maggio, another fastest lap of 1:45.382. He's making up the lost ground from race 1. 6.9 seconds now in the lead. He is flying at the moment. Gillett all over the back of Savinski, almost touching front wing to gearbox there as they head down into turn 1. Super late on the brakes goes Joe Gillett. That could be a wonderful move. It is a wonderful move from the Englishman, but can he rubber stamp it round the outside? I love the inside line into the international hairpin. Joe Gillett, take a bow. What a fantastic move. Heading through turn 1, side by side through 2 and 3. Brilliant stuff from the race 1 winner. Late on the brakes, sweeping around the outside of Savinski at turn 1. That was mega moves from a mega driver. Up into P6 goes the number 6 car of Joe Gillett. And he can now set his eyes ahead on Ahmed, who's doing a fine job indeed at the moment in P5. Further back, Zanini fighting with Orazio and Rodriguez. It would look like he gets through Orazio, who's run a little bit wide there. But these guys look like they're almost going to run 3 wide. Rodriguez boxed in at the moment behind the green car of Zanini. But with working together with a slipstream. Oh my goodness me, wheel-to-wheel contact on the banking. Now they're both not in the wall and not in a hospital. I have no idea. Wow. What a save from both of them has killed their momentum, unfortunately. That's allowed Zanini a lifeline. But goodness gracious me. Unbelievable. That is not a place where you want to see contact between cars. Up the front, here goes Scarpelli with the drive on Taris, heading through NASCAR 3 and 4. They make their way down onto the front stretch and into the tri-oval. Taris will just about have the pace advantage. He will cross the lap to make it 5 laps to go for this pair. And they'll have the inside line into turn 1, but we've seen some heroics from other drivers into turn 1. Can Scarpelli pull something similar? No. Not this time. He's going to have to settle for P4, but clearly has some pace on board that machine. As Ahmed, unfortunately, has now succumbed to the pace of Gillett and Savinski behind. And now is facing serious pressure from Zanini, Rodriguez and Orazio. And look how close Zanini is. Zanini, he was very fast in race 1. He's showing how fast he is in race 2 as well. And as Ahmed continues to hold off Zanini from behind. All touches. Does he go round? Great save from Ahmed after a touch with Savinski.
Oh, we've seen a lot of these. Yeah, we've seen a lot of these small touches as well throughout the race. And it's not affect too much other than losing a bit of momentum there. But yeah, as you say, great racing. And yeah, I'm actually a bit speechless, honestly, because there's just so much happening. There's only so much time you've got to explain what's going on, and I just have to go back to Alessandro Maggio as well. He's been setting fastest lap after fastest lap while without anyone to follow, and he's still been just the fastest driver out there, as we now see Taris fighting with Scarpelli again, going in through the bus stop chicane. Zanini and just a gaggle of cars there going through, and oh, that's a smash. That's a smash for Rodriguez.
Hard into the wall, coming out of the bus stop goes Ishmael Rodriguez. Hopefully everything is okay, but that was a big hit. Not sure what happened. Hopefully he's able to continue. He'll definitely have to come into the pits. Be waiting to see if his car comes around the final corner. These guys go onto lap 8, but a big collision into the wall there for Rodriguez. Hopefully everything is okay for the number 8 driver. Zanini, though, holds on to P7 from Orazio as it stands. Oh, fighting just behind them. Ahmed and Dexter wheel to wheel heading through turn 1. Rodriguez has made it back to the pits. Great to see.
Yeah, it did look like he lost both his wings there, so definitely like a solid piece of contact there with the wall. As we see cars ahead going wide, and then we have a 3 wide moment, and he just
What was that? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit surprising to see somebody just pulling over like that in that fashion. But yeah, tight racing, and sometimes you just miscalculate. Yeah, Vazdar sliding through, going onto the banking there to the NASCAR turn 1 and 2, and Yes, just there's been a lot of these small contacts resulting in big damage as well. But that was definitely something. As we have Scarpelli on the outside now, Taras keeping the third place going in through the bus stop there, and Gutt now right behind. He's caught up. He has caught up to fourth place now. That's going really quickly now.
Yeah, Gutt is flying at the moment in P5, surely soon to be P4 if he gets the slipstream and the run on Domenico Scarpelli. As they come down the front stretch and into the tri-oval, they'll be heading on to their 9th lap, 3 to go for this bunch. We've seen Gutt with some heroics down into turn 1. Can he try something similar to the outside? He is going to have a go for it once again around the outside, but this time, unfortunately, it's not going to pay the same dividends as it did as Taras one's a bit wide. Coming out of turn 1, maybe just killing his momentum slightly, but Scarpelli is fully on the defensive at the moment. I don't think he's worried about Scarpelli. Is Taras has a big front right rock up there for the number 10 coming into the international horseshoe. So good job to keep it on the black stuff and not run into the back of Taras in front. Gutt just looks super fast. Getting another bus stop. Taras has got very sideways, 3 wide. Going to be contact surely. Wow. Taras got very sideways.
A crash, and somebody's gone wide on the behind there, and just I don't know how that did not result in contact at all. Honestly, that was incredible. Just to see that you saw Taras just losing it a bit now, but now they're still third, fourth, and fifth as has been with Taras in front. Gutt going down the outside. Yep.
Oh, and here goes Gutt to the outside, but Scarpelli's got Scarpelli, and then Gutt touches Scarpelli. Slightly touches the wall. Hopefully no damage to either car as they head through the bus stop chicane, but it has cost them a little bit of momentum, a little bit of time. But there was a little bit of contact. Scarpelli just tried to move back in. I think he thought he was clear behind the pair of them. Front wing to left rear wheel, and just glancing the wall went Scarpelli. As they make their way, this will be their penultimate lap of the race. 2 to go for this group here. And Gutt maybe perform some more miracles down into turn 1. As he goes hard on the brakes, he takes a very wide line compared to everybody else, but that allows him to get a bit later on the brakes and just rotate the car, swing it in, and get a great exit as well. It's a really clever line to use through there. But he's not able to be close enough to the car in front at the moment. Scarpelli continues to hold on to that P4 spot, and Taras in front of them, the final podium paying position, the biggest mover in this race, up 11 places. Unbelievable pace in this race from Oliver Taras, but can he hold on? Gutt looks very fast. Scarpelli is putting the pressure on. We've seen the occasional mistake from the driver in the number 1. Will he be able to hold on to that podium position, or will he succumb to the attacks from behind? This group a little bit more separated than a lap prior. Gutt will be getting the advantage of 2 slipstreams here, but again, he's not going to be close enough. It's going to have to be a last lap manoeuvre for either one of these guys if they want to get through Taras and onto the podium. Up the front, Maggio nearly 10 seconds in the lead from Mike Bell. He's all but got this one in the bag. But an interesting interpretation of track limits there is back here. We see Joshua Dexter on Ahmed coming into the bus stop chicane on the inside, on the brakes there, the textbook manoeuvre. Lovely stuff from the Brit heading up the inside, and he will take that P9 with some gratitude. It's not been the most eventful evening for Joshua Dexter. He's used to some much stronger results, so it's a shame to see him maybe languishing a little bit further down, but still, that's the way that it goes sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't always go your way. Of course, he did win the reverse grid race 2 back in Hungary at round 12. And yeah, hopefully he's able to get back onto Form 2 soon, as white flag is in the air. It is the final lap here at Daytona, at the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series in 2023. Mazdar now holding off Ahmed. Ahmed dives to the inside. That is brilliantly late run from Ahmed to get back into the top 10. Fantastic stuff from him. as this battle wages on. But for how much longer can Vazda find a way back through on the number 2 car in front? He's going to try a little late lunge maybe here. No, he's going to run very wide actually as well. Just missed his braking point ever so slightly. Just got sucked in by Ahmed watching the car in front and missed his braking point by maybe not even a metre or 2. That's all it takes when you're driving on the limit to go flying straight on into a corner. Well, he drops again a little further back, does Vazda, so he's going to need a great exit from the bus stop to make it work. Scarpelli and Gillett still fighting. Gillett trying to get up into P4, does get up into P4, does Joe Gillett, your race 1 winner. Lovely move, it's Hexford stuff. Up the inside of Scarpelli, but there's only one man that we can talk about today, and it's this man. Alessandro Maggio takes a dominant victory in race 2 and goes rocketing down into the infield to celebrate it. It's his first win since round 7. A long time ago, back in Dubai when he took 2 race victories, and it just hasn't quite stacked up for him. He does finally take the victory as Vazda. And what are you doing?
Oh, I don't know what that's not leaving enough space there, unfortunately.
No, that's not on. That is not on. That is a really disappointing way to end a great race.
Yeah, for sure. Just you have to be very, very careful about how you drive when you're coming out of the final corner. Even if you're trying to go down the inside there, it's just that's too much of a move there for sure.
Yeah, let's get a replay. Christian Vazda, and he turns into him. Yeah,
and then just a massive accident from Ahmed as a result.
Let's get on from Vazda. Maybe Vazda feels like he was chopped off unfairly. No, he's trying to crash him. I'm sorry, that has no place in GPVWC racing. Absolutely disgraceful from Christian Vazda. What a disappointing way to end what has been a fine evening of racing. Man, Mike Bell celebrates a well-fought P2. That was well earned for Mr. Bell after a disappointing race 1. Great stuff from him. But that will be it for race 2 here in GPVWC Academy Series at Daytona. Alessandro Maggio finishes on the top of the podium with a great drive. Mike Bell is second with Oliver Taris rounding out the podium. Joe Gillett is in P4 with Domenico Scarpelli losing out to Gillett. He's P5. Excuse me. Davide Zanini was P6. Michele Orazio in P7. Savinsky was P9. And Savinsky was P8, sorry. And Joshua Dexter was P9 with some other drivers behind as well. But man, what a race we have just seen there. In GPVWC Academy Series, Ahmed was P11 with Piotr Radko in P12. Julian Kerr 13th, Louis Smith 14th, Ishmael Rodriguez after that disappointing but very heavy crash earlier on. He's 15th with Caroline Harvig. That is it for your racing at Daytona here in the Academy Series. Of course, we've still got 1 round left to go in Brazil, but Scott, what a fantastic evening of racing we've had.
Oh yeah, this track has definitely produced some very good racing, very unconventional track for these cars to be on. But I mean, sometimes experiment like this provides us with great racing, and we saw tonight just how close the racing was, really, especially around the banking. Just incredible.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Thank you very much for joining us here for the penultimate round of the GPVWC Academy Series in 2023, our first venture to Daytona, and I think you will all agree it was a very, very successful one. What an evening of racing that we have had. And of course, we've still got 1 more round to go in the Academy Series when we head to Interlagos for the final round in Brazil. Until then, take care. Looks like we're not going to get any interviews. No one's waiting for one. So yeah, I think that'll be goodbye from us.
Yep. So thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time for the final round in Interlagos.